What's up, everybody? Matt Gajewski here, back again with the Awesemo Fantasy Football channel. And today we're going to be talking sleeper running backs. But before we get started, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. And for the purpose of this video, the sleeper running back conversation is just going to be surrounded by ADP. So when we talk about a running back, they are just too low in relation to their ADP. We'll hit on some near the top of drafts, some in the mid-range, and then some sleepers very late in your drafts as well. But without further ado, let's get into this. And we are going to be starting the discussion with Kansas City Chiefs running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire coming into his second season after a strong career at LSU. He's still wildly underrated despite eclipsing 1,000 all-purpose yards last year. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire involved everywhere. On the ground, he had 181 carries. Through the air, 54 targets. In the red zone, he had 28 carries, and he was able to parlay that into just 5 touchdowns, so he's due for some positive regression there. Then we have the Chiefs changing the running back room a little bit, losing Le'Veon Bell. They still have Darrell Williams. They bring in Jerick McKinnon, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire should project for a majority of this work. And last year, he had 18.1 opportunities per game. In a Patrick Mahomes-led Chiefs offense, which is going to be near the top of the league in scoring again, Clyde Edwards-Helaire still should see some positive regression in touchdowns. Now, as far as Clyde Edwards-Helaire from an ADP perspective, he's coming off the board right around pick 22 behind Antonio Gibson, behind Aaron Jones, Najee Harris. Players like Gibson still have concerns with J.D. McKissic in the picture. Najee Harris is a rookie on a team with a completely rebuilt offensive line. We're not sure how that is going to project. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire is still underrated, and in the second round, he is going to be a surefire pick. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, sleeper RB number 1. Second sleeper running back we want to discuss today is going to be Raheem Mostert of the San Francisco 49ers. This is a running back room changing a little bit. They lose Jerick McKinnon. They do bring in rookie Trey Sermon from Ohio State. But this running back room narrowed a little bit when Jeff Wilson suffered a knee injury earlier this year. Now, he will be back at some point during the season, but he's likely to start the year limited and miss a few weeks. That narrows the backfield to just Mostert and Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon projects to be the bigger back here with Raheem Mostert around 200 pounds. But Mostert's been very productive when on the field for San Francisco in the past. Last year in 8 games, he rushed for 521 yards, had 19 targets, and that equated to 15.4 opportunities per game. That's carries plus targets. Now, last year was a down year for San Francisco overall. They had injuries on the offensive line, injury to Jimmy Garoppolo. It's just a year ago, they were in the Super Bowl. And when everything's working for San Francisco, they are approaching the league lead in rushing attempts. You can see opportunities for Raheem Mostert were already 15.4 per game, even though he was splitting time. One little X factor could be the insertion of rookie Trey Lance. He's a dual threat quarterback, which means this offense could embrace the run even more. With the easiest projected schedule in football, San Francisco's win total sits at 10.5. That should mean positive game script for Raheem Mostert as well. He comes off the board at pick 88.9 right now, so you're looking at him around the 7th round. It's behind players like Myles Gaskin, Trey Sermon, his counterpart in the backfield, Chase Edmonds, and Damian Harris. Raheem Mostert's proven Trey Sermon hasn't played it down. I'm going to take Raheem Mostert over Trey Sermon right now. I'll take him over timeshare backs like Edmonds and Damian Harris because of the offensive environment. He's sleeper RB number 2. Moving forward, we have our first rookie on the list. It is New York Jets running back Michael Carter coming out of North Carolina. He was a 4th-round pick. He's not your typical feature back in size. He's just 5'8", 201 pounds, but he had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons with North Carolina. He reached 20 touches in only a handful of games in his career, but he was also splitting time with Denver Broncos running back Javonte Williams. Also a fantastic receiver, over 21 receptions in back-to-back years there. As far as the Jets go, this running back room, very unsettled. They bring in Tevin Coleman. They have LaMichael Pirine in place. But overall, they do not have a deep running back room. This should give Michael Carter opportunity immediately to take over the backfield. Now, it's not going to be the best offense. The Jets are rebuilding, but they have made investments. They bring in Zach Wilson. They've spent back-to-back first-round picks on the offensive line. It's a team that should be ascending, which should mean positive opportunities for Michael Carter. And he's currently being drafted outside the top 90 picks behind players like Chase Edmonds, Damian Harris, James Robinson. And in this range, there's not many running backs that have the potential to be that 3-down back. Michael Carter has that in his wheelhouse, which makes him a sleeper running back this year in 2021. Next sleeper, we head to Buffalo. We have second-year pro Zack Moss, originally coming out of Utah. He's 5'9", 223 pounds, a bit of a bigger back, which is a nice compliment to Devin Singletary, which they already have in the offense. But Zack Moss has a lot to like, not only because of the role, which is increasing. Last year, he ended up on injured reserve, but we saw him eclipse Devin Singletary down the stretch. But he also plays in a Buffalo offense, which was inside the top 12 in pass rate. They were inside the top 3 in points per game, and they're again projected for double-digit wins. We've seen Buffalo embrace pass-first approach, but that was mostly with Zack Moss injured. Last year, he handles 112 carries, saw 18 targets in the pass game. It was just 11 opportunities per game, again, targets plus carries, but we're expecting this to ascend in his second season, now recovered from the injury, with Devin Singletary taking somewhat of a step back. The offensive line returns every single starter as well, and you can currently get Zack Moss outside the top 100 picks, again, after players like James Robinson and Ronald Jones. And we're talking all timeshare backs basically at this point, but the difference between Moss and some of those other players, he's on a high-powered offense, and he has the chance to take over a 3-down role if there's an injury to Singletary or he simply outplays him. For that reason, with an ADP outside the top 100, Zack Moss still a sleeper running back to target this year. Moving to Baltimore, we have Gus Edwards. He's entering his 4th season, former undrafted free agent, but Edwards, a big back, 6'1", 229, fairly fast as well, ran a 4.5, 240-yard dash, and he's been extremely durable, played in 16 games last year. He's not a pass catcher whatsoever, just 13 targets, but he did finish with 144 carries for 723 yards as one of the most efficient running backs from a tackle-breaking perspective in the NFL. And we now have a fairly large sample of Gus Edwards being involved in this timeshare. Split time with Mark Ingram, split time with J.K. Dobbins last year. He's not going anywhere. And you currently get Gus Edwards outside the top 120 picks when you usually have to spend a second or third rounder on J.K. Dobbins. Now, the split might be 60-40 in favor of Dobbins, but you're still getting a lot of rushing attempts for Gus Edwards on the league's run-heaviest team with Lamar Jackson at center. They completely revamped their offensive line as well. They bring in Alejandro Villanueva after losing Orlando Brown, but they still have Ronnie Stanley, Kevin Zeitler, and this team again projects for double-digit wins, so we're looking at friendly game scripts for Gus Edwards, not to mention he's the bigger back between Dobbins and Edwards himself, making him likely to handle a red zone role, which gives him touchdown upside. Again, he's coming off the board behind the likes of Tony Pollard, Leonard Fournette, A.J. Dillon. Some of these names are completely unproven, like A.J. Dillon. Others are in unsettled situations, like Tony Pollard, who maybe is just a change of pace back. We know Edwards has a role with Baltimore in this strong offense, making him a solid pick as a sleeper running back outside the top 120 in average draft position. Closing this out, we'll go very deep, a deep, deep sleeper. We have Rashaad Penny with the Seattle Seahawks. Rashaad Penny, shockingly, still just in his 4th season, 25 years old. He was coming off the severe injury last year. He actually suffered the severe injury late in 2019, causing him to miss a majority of 2020. So the stats you're seeing on the screen are actually from his 2019 season, where he slowly emerged and worked his way into a larger role throughout the season, finished with those 370 rushing yards, 11 targets. It was good for just 7.5 opportunities per game. Chris Carson's still in place, and he's not going anywhere, but we did lose Carlos Hyde in this offense, and they don't really have anybody behind Rashaad Penny. With the investment they spent in him back in his draft class, he's a former first-round pick. I think we could see Rashaad Penny handle change of pace touches, and then if Chris Carson were to go down with an injury, Rashaad Penny has the size, the speed, and the profile of a 3-down back. He's 5'11", 220 pounds, ran a 4.46 40-yard dash coming out of college, and he's coming off the board outside the top 200 picks, behind Giovanni Bernard, who's in a 3-way timeshare in Tampa Bay, behind Philip Lindsay in a 3-way timeshare with Houston, the worst team in football, behind Chuba Hubbard, an unproven rookie drafted on day 3, behind Kenny Gainwell, same situation in Philly, 3-way timeshare behind Miles Sanders, Boston Scott. Basically, Rashaad Penny in this range is one of the few backs that has upside for every single down if there's an injury to Chris Carson, which makes him a strong sleeper to target here as well. Make sure to look at all our videos on the new Awesemo YouTube channel. Follow us, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when this video, all other videos go live across the channel. We're going to have all sorts of videos coming up, mock drafts, best ball drafts, more player breakdowns, sleeper videos like this. You name it, and we will have it. Of course, I'm on Twitter at Matt_Gajewski. You can find all my work over at Awesemo.com. But thanks for watching. We will catch you guys again next time.